Let's go behind the scenes. This is one of those images that looks simple on the surface but has lots of layers. I want to walk you through how I approach this whimsical AI composite, the tools I used, my thought process, and more importantly, having fun creating. Come with me, we're going hat shopping. Here is my background, generated with Leonardo AI. And my vision was like an old French or Parisian hat shop with lots of hats in soft muted colours. But when I looked at the background, I felt it needed more negative space on the left and right hand sides, and I also extended it at the top. What I'm going to do now is start with what I call the first adjustment layer, and I always tend to use the levels. I'll turn that layer on. Some people will use the curves. I use the levels. What I'm doing is just giving the tonal range a little bit of lift or lightness. I'll turn that layer off and on. Then I added a little bit of vibrance to it. I can't see much of the change in it, but sometimes I just put a little touch of vibrance into my images. I've done a stamp visible layer here. Now what I'm going to do is generate the left and right negative space, and I was using that with Firefly in Photoshop. I'm not too sure what I'm going to do with the top, but that's something that I can fix later. Stamp visible layer. Now I add the character, my lovely otter, generated with AI. What I do is generate the characters, elements, and I'll cut them out just like a normal composite, and then I'll put it in on my background to tell the story. The next layer is where I'm absolutely over the moon with this new feature. I've been waiting years for this, and it's the rotate object layer. Previously in the beta version, now it's in the latest update of Photoshop. I'm going to turn that layer on, and you can see now our lovely Miss Otter has got a little bit of a jaunty angle. I'll also put the layer on underneath. If you're thinking you're seeing WR, what I will do is now turn the layer off with the original otter, and there she is. Lovely angle on her. Now what I need to do is actually blend or colour match her into the background. And the tool that I use for that is the Harmonize layer. Now in Photoshop, the latest edition, it also uses credits. And so be mindful every time that you use the new Harmonize tool, it does use credits from your allowance. It also can generate some pixels because it gives you 3 versions and it's using Firefly. If you want to still use Harmonize and not use any of your credits or not use any AI generation of pixels, the other option is go up to Filter, then click on Neural Filter, and then you'll see Harmonization. Turn that on. Now, I've been using that for years, and it does a fantastic job color matching your elements into the background. This doesn't use any credits or generates any pixels. Great little tip for you. Let's come back and have a look what we're going to do. So I've used the Harmonize, the new feature, and have a look. To my eye, she's now blended or colour matched into the background perfectly. I could do a little bit more tweaking, but I didn't. What you do notice now as I come in, because I've rotated her, the tail has become a little bit more emphasised, and I didn't want that. So the next layer, I do a stamp visible layer, Control-Alt-Shift-D. I'll turn the layer on and you can see that I've removed the tail. I've taken a bit of a look at the legs here and I thought, oh, that looks a little bit out of sorts, the leg there. That can happen when you rotate, particularly in an image like this. Never mind, Let's do a workaround or a disguise work. I'm going to turn the layer on and then I'll show you what I did. I'll turn the layer on and I've lengthened her dress. I'll turn the layer off. What I actually did, and I'll zoom in, I selected this area here with a quick selection tool. I then put that selection into a separate layer, Control or Command J, which you can see here now on layer 6. And that's how I worked that extra layer in there to lengthen the dress. It's a little bit of disguise work. And I thought, oh, I quite like that. I take a look and I think, what else can I add? It's about building up a story. She's the hero. What are the props that I can use to tell that story? And I thought, I know, she needs a hat. So I'm going to turn this layer on and you can see this hat. Now I'm going to zoom in and have a look. I chose this hat for the colours so that it matched in with the background. Generated with Leonardo AI, then I came into Photoshop and cut out the background. You could use Firefly in Photoshop to generate a hat or another object if you're wanting. What I'm going to do now is use the rotate object layer again. I'm going to turn that layer on and you'll see now it's got a little bit more of an angle. I'll turn the layer off underneath and there's the hat. Took a little bit of tweaking to do this. I wasn't overly happy. In the scheme of things, it's not what I call a large element to work with. What I'm going to do now is use the Harmonize tool so that I can blend the hat in tonally with the rest of the image. I'll turn that layer on and you can see now it is working with her outfit. Now, what else can I add to this little story? She's been shopping. As you do, I'm going to add a shopping bag. There's the shopping bag there. I added another shopping bag over the top, but I also rotated. Now we've got 2 shopping bags. But I felt that they were too similar in tones, so I did a clipping mask with a hue and saturation, and I dialed down the saturation of that bag, and it just gave a little soft contrast. The next layer, I did a stamp visible layer, and what I'm going to do now is extend the canvas at the top and give a little bit more height to this background. I'll turn this layer on and this is what it came up with. Generated with Firefly within Photoshop, and I loved this one. And I felt it just gave that little bit of extra detail in the background. Next layer, I did a stamp visible layer for no other reason. I just get sometimes into the habit of doing it. I left it there. I did a curves just to give a tonal lift. Now what I'm working on is the colour grading. And I'm not sure what my vision is for the colour grading, so this is where I go and play. And I encourage you to go and play as well and experiment. The next layer, I did a stamp visible. I did a little bit of tidy up on some things as well. Okay, what else can I do? I did a colour lookup. I'll turn that layer on. This gives what I call depth and contrast. I'm going to come up here. This is the colour lookup adjustment layer, and there's quite a few presets in there that you can choose. Then I did a hue and saturation, and I dialed it down a little bit on the actual tones. If I look, the opacity is at 41%. Have I dialed down the colour lookup on the opacity? And yes, I have. I've done 60% on the opacity and soft light as the blend mode. And just by dialing down the opacity on that hue and saturation, it just softens the colours. The next layer is where I did a stamp visible layer. I went into Nick and I went into Viasa and did a bit of a tonal adjustment. And I think, oh, yes, now it's getting to my style and my tones. But wait, there's more. It's the saying when you do composites, I put in a raven or a crow right down here in that little space. Why? I just thought I'll put a bird in there. I used the harmonize tool on the bird to tone him down a little bit. And what I love about this harmonize tool, it puts a shadow. I did a clipping mask with the levels onto the bird just to give him a little bit of lift. This is the new plugin that I'm playing with, and I'll do a little bit of a clip at the end of this video and I'll show you the workspace of Dehancer Film. I'm loving it because it gives the old vintage camera look some colours. I'll turn the layer on. Look at the depth that you get. And I often talk about this, the colour depth or depth of colour. I'm loving the strong contrast, but that's not my style. I will dial this down now and see what I can get. I've added a little bit of clarity and dehaze just to soften it. The next layer, stamp visible, levels to give it a tonal lift. Now I feel it needs a little bit of light sculpting in, and I've used a grey layer, which I have a video in the channel that shows you how to use the grey layer and how I do my dodge and burn. I use the paintbrush, black for burn, white for dodge. I do not use the dodge and burn tool. I'll turn the layer on, and I've just dabbed in light in various areas just to get the viewer's eye moving around. I did a vignette using a lasso tool, and then I put it into a levels adjustment layer. So that technique is just grab your lasso tool, draw a shape wherever you want that vignette, and then you can either click on a curves, you can click on a levels, you can click on brightness and contrast, and then that puts that selection into that adjustment layer. And it's a nifty little trick to do a quick vignette. Stamp visible layer. Then the finishing touch is a curves layer. And there she is, Miss Otter, gone shopping for hats. For me, creating an AI composite like this is about having fun, using different techniques, new tools that are in Photoshop, a new plugin, and just playing, experimenting, and letting the imagination roam. The techniques that I've shared with you can be used in your own photo composites, even on landscapes. All the skills that I've learned over the years is like I keep adding a layer upon layer in my creative toolbox. And then when I'm creating, I'll try this technique or this tool. Was I looking for a masterpiece? No. For me, it was about having fun, seeing what I could create. And that's what I'll encourage you to do, is just sometimes sit down, play, create, let your imagination roam. I'm going to give you a peek at the Dehancer Film plugin. What you need to do once it's installed is go to Filter, then you'll come down and look for Dehancer and Dehancer Film. And then this is where you can play with all the different colours or styles that are in there. We're looking at the Dehancer workspace, and I'll just give you a sneak peek of some of the features that are in here that I'm loving with my colour grading. Over on the left-hand side, you can see film type, and you've got all films. And then if you click on the down arrow, you can choose colour negative, motion picture, instant exotic cross. But what I'm going to do is just scroll down and actually look at some of the what I call presets. Let's have a look. You've got here, let's one that I like, the Fuji series. You've got different versions there. If I click on one, you'll have a look. You'll see it changes the color grading. If I click on another Fuji, again, you can see the depth that it's changing with it. If I come down further, I've got this one that gives it a different look completely. Let's scroll down and have a look at a lot more. You've got so many to choose from. You've got the old Kodak cameras. You know, these were in the film days. So let's click on Kodak Color Plus, Kodak Eastman, and look at, oh, I quite like that. Now, you've also got a number of sliders that you can play with over here. I'm going to do another video down the track showing how you can use this fabulous program. Loving it because of the difference that I can get in color grading, and color is very much part of my style. Thanks for watching.